Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, we have 5 colleagues from universities in the US that will be talking to us about the application process as well as their universities. At the end of the presentation, we'll open up the floor for questions, so you'll be able to ask any questions that you have. And then after that, each of the university officials will go into breakout rooms, so you will be able to talk to them in breakout rooms and ask any specific questions you might have about their universities. I will allow my colleague Kenley to begin presenting and introduce our friends from all of these universities.
Thank you, Nevin. Thank you, Nevin, for this great opportunity, and to you students, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us wherever you may be. Thank you for coming out, and I apologize for my voice. It is a little bit hoarse. Which is fitting because, you know, we have the University of Kentucky here, home of the Kentucky Derby, and then, you know, the Cowboys of the University of Wyoming as well. In addition to that, we are joined today by my university, the University of Redlands, University of California, Riverside, and the University of Verne. Our 3 universities come from the state of California. You will have an opportunity to hear directly from my colleagues from these wonderful institutions in just a little bit. What we want to do is set the scene for you, both in terms of what our specific universities and institutions have to offer, based on some of the important criteria you might be looking at in the college search process. But in addition to that, we think it's important to also give you some tips from a general sense. The US is a big country, and it's a very complex higher education system. And it certainly isn't a one-size-fits-all. University of Verne has a very different process from the University of Kentucky. But what we hope to be able to do is at least provide you with some common themes and some common answers to some questions you might have about navigating the US university admissions and enrollment process. So each of us will focus in a different area of that topic as a whole. So with that, I'm going to turn it on over to Rachel from Kentucky, and then we'll continue the show and keep it going. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. So thank you so much to our organizers for setting this up. And thanks to all of you for coming, taking the time out of your schedule. So I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to the University of Kentucky. We are a top 100 public research university in the United States, located in the southeastern part of the US, in Lexington, Kentucky, which was ranked the #3 safest metro city in the US by safewise.com. So we are in a safe and very lively college town environment that all of our students really enjoy. We are test optional for admissions and scholarships right now, which I know is important for a lot of students, meaning we do not require the SAT or ACT for either admissions or scholarship consideration. And I know scholarships are important. And so that's why I'm very pleased to say that at University of Kentucky, we have multiple scholarship options for our international students. And this year, we awarded over $7 million in scholarship funds to new international undergraduates. I'm not going to try to list all of our 200 academic majors and programs, but just a couple of highlights. Our most popular and highly ranked programs are in our College of Engineering, our College of Business, our pre-healthcare professions, if you're interested in any part of the medical field, and our architecture program in our College of Design. And of course, we have many majors beyond that. And if you have any questions later, feel free to ask. Next slide, please. So that was just a brief introduction to University of Kentucky, but I want to talk a little bit more about application basics. Of course, all universities have a slightly different application process, but there are some elements that you are going to see on pretty much every application. So I'd like to kind of briefly go over those. A lot of them you're probably familiar with. So first of all, you need to decide how you are going to apply. A lot of students choose to use the Common App for their university applications, which is very handy because you don't have to enter the same basic information in over and over again for each university. Or if you're only applying to one or two universities, you might choose to use the specific university application. On either of these, you're going to put in your basic personal information. You're going to list any awards, accomplishments, honors, and extracurriculars, as well as your classwork. All universities require a personal statement, and this is something you should pay a lot of attention to and look really closely at the instructions. What different universities ask you to do will differ, but really in the personal statement, they want to get a sense of who you are as a person and as a student. Normally, you need a letter of recommendation. This should be written by someone who knows you well in an academic sense, such as your counselor or a teacher. An official transcript is going to be required for pretty much every university that you will apply to. Now, official means not that you are sending it, but that usually it has to be sent directly from your school. So it's your counselor or one of your teachers who is going to upload it to your Common App or send it to the university. Proof of English proficiency is usually required for international students, and this can take many different forms. Sometimes it comes in the form of a test, such as the TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. Or if you go to a high school where English is the medium of instruction, they might simply just need a letter from your high school stating this, and that can waive your English proficiency. Different universities have different elements, so you might find extra essays, you might find them asking for different information, but these are really the basics that you are going to see on most university applications. This is all of the information you should have prepared before you even begin to fill out that application. One thing to note is that scholarship applications may be part of the official university application, and they may have additional essay requirements if you plan to put yourself forward for these scholarships. So be prepared that there might be additional essays that you have to write, and give yourself the time to do that. And the last part that is part of every application is an application fee that you do have to pay as you apply to these universities. So while you might find some elements to be different among different universities in the application process, these are really the core elements, the basic parts of the application that you will need to have prepared as you start the process. So my big piece of advice for you as I finish up is just to make sure that you have all of this information ready, that you give yourself enough time to write these essays, get the letters of recommendation, and gather your materials before you start the process of doing the applications themselves. That can save you a lot of time and give you time to proofread and go over and correct and perfect your applications. And so I will pass this on to.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Hello, everyone. This is Jun Wen, and I'm coming from the University of California, Riverside, from the Sunshine, California. And we're really honored and have a great pleasure to talk to you today about our wonderful university, part of the glorious University of California system, the worldwide largest research public university system. We're one of the 9 campuses in the UC family that offers an undergraduate degree program. And we are one of the top research tier 1 university in the country that offers master, PhD, and many professional degree programs as well. We're very proud of our history and our current status. Our root goes back all the way to the 1800s as the birthplace of navel orange, and right here, see? So we actually discovered and was founded as a research station for citrus type of research. And today we have the worldwide whole collection of worldwide citrus varieties, over 1,400 live plants right on our campus. So you can get fresh orange or lemon all year round at any time on campus. And beyond that, we are the fastest rising university. The campus looked like a construction zone over the past few years, but it's no longer. It looks like a brand new, beautiful campus now. And we have so many new buildings, new infrastructures, new laboratories, and new dormitories welcoming our students from all around the world. We have students from 83 countries around the world, including many from Serbia and many from Belgrade, to be more specific. In fact, my boss is actually from Serbia and graduated from University of Belgrade. So, and his name is Dr. Marco Prinsbeck, and he talks about Serbia all the time. And we love students from Serbia, and we love students who are studying all different disciplinary areas on our campus. We have over 150 undergraduate major choices for you to choose from, all the way from engineering to business to psychology and to natural sciences and humanity majors. We also offer a very generous scholarship to subsidize your cost. On our campus, it's $4,500 per quarter. I'm noticing we are on quarter system. That means it's 3 quarters per year, which is $13,500 per year and renewable all 4 years of your undergraduate study. UC campuses is relatively unique in terms of our application process. We use one application for all 9 campuses in the UC system. It's not a common app, it's our UC app. The application opens very soon, November 1st to November 30th. And we hope you can submit your application before the deadline and choose, make sure tick mark UC Riverside as one of your choice. We are #1 in social mobility in the US for 3 years in a row, number 34 in undergraduate teaching, number 28 most convenient and most economical university. So the best money for your investment, and top 33 for public schools, ranked by the US News and World Report as well. Overall rankings 83, and we have fantastic career supporting programs for our international students, as well as fantastic gym facilities and recreational facilities on campus to welcome our students. Not too far from my other 2 colleagues, which will talk about where we are in the Southern California, beautifully located, 1 hour away from almost everything you want to reach: Disneyland, snow mountains, desert, or the beach. So this is a fantastic place to be, and we can't wait to welcome you on our campus. Once again, thank you so much, and feel free to email me. Stay on for more questions. Thank you. And is this my slide too? Okay. Yes, so this year, our international admission process is completely test optional. This is very consistent in the UC family and in many schools across the United States. It was partially triggered by the pandemic, but now it becomes a norm to most of the universities. So SAT is no longer required. It's very optional, ACT as well. And noticing most of our colleagues, including the UC families, have now started introducing Duolingo as an alternative language requirement for English proficiency test. So please pay attention to that. Each campus may have a different score for the minimum requirement, but all you have to reach is a minimum requirement that just qualifies for the proficiency. So don't worry too much about that. Of course, if you received your secondary education in completely English, then we can provide exemption for that requirement. And we do look for students with very strong grades, with GPA specifically for 10th and 11th grade. And this is not just UC, I think every single university in the United States mainly focus on your secondary grades for those 2 years. So make sure you work really hard and boost your academic performance during those time. And last but not least, I want to emphasize that most of our colleagues and I, actually, we all do what we call a comprehensive review. So academic achievement is obviously #1. We want to know you are capable and to study at the universities in the United States. But we also look at other materials, including your personal background, your school contacts, and your interest, your special talents. If you have sports talents, your chess champion, if you have other music talents, let us know. We want to know everything about you. You have done volunteering work, you have done student activities, clubs, share those with us, right? I think some of our colleagues like mine, which very focused in sports, so we are division NCAA Division 1, so we have all type of teams. I actually have 2 basketball players from Serbia right now and got full scholarships. And so we love students from all backgrounds, and we'll take everything into consideration. So if you have special circumstances, let us know. We'll take everything into consideration to make sure you're considered, and we provide the maximum scholarship or financial support if we can. Thank you so much. And my colleagues from University of Wyoming.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daing. I'm an assistant director here at the Office of International Students and Scholars here at the University of Wyoming. I'm very excited to meet with you guys today. Thank you for having us and being with us tonight. So again, we are the University of Wyoming. We are located in the city of Laramie, the state of Wyoming. A little bit about the University of Wyoming. UW was established in 1886, providing students over 200 different majors across 7 colleges. So you can study everything, anything and everything here at the University of Wyoming. If you do a little bit more research about us, you'll find out that we're very focused in the energy industry. So a lot of our programs are focused in very much have high research in petroleum engineering, geology, geophysics, and with everything that goes into the business side of the energy industry, the oil and gas industry. There's also the sustainability side. So there's the soil research and botany and agriculture side as well. So again, every single major that you can think of, from engineering to business and everything in between as well. So you'll have a lot of opportunity to study whatever you want here at the University of Wyoming. Okay, so a little bit about our rankings. University of Wyoming was ranked 2nd among the nation's land-grant universities and number 5 overall in the Wall Street Journal's 2020 Is Your College Worth Your Cost? So what that means is you pay such an affordable price for a very highly ranked degree that's recognized all over the US and also all over the world as well. UW was also ranked 27th on the Wall Street Journal's Best Value list among public institutions. Laramie was recently voted number 1 in the small college town in the US, which means it's very, very safe, just like the rest of my colleagues, safety is a great concern, and we get a lot of questions from students and parents regarding this. So we're very happy to highlight that to you. UW's College of Engineering is ABET accredited and a top college in the country. And so is our College of Business, which is AACSB accredited as well. All right. Just like all the other schools tonight, we have amazing scholarships that are renewable up to 4 years for your entire undergraduate studies. So I'm happy to discuss more about that with you guys. And also, if you're also, right now you're thinking about your undergraduate degree, but if you're thinking about doing your master's PhDs as well, we have generous graduate assistantships available for you to continue your studies after your undergraduate degree. So if that's something you're already thinking about, we absolutely advocate for that. And also want to tell you to consider the University of Wyoming in pursuing your education as well, okay? So you can add us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and also if you have any specific questions regarding applying to the University of Wyoming, you can WhatsApp us as well, okay? But my topic for tonight, next slide, please, is I wanted to talk a little bit about scholarships and financial aid. I know that's a huge concern for a lot of you and your parents and families. So I wanted to touch a little bit about that tonight. What I tell students is when you think about financial aid and scholarship, it's a whole pie, right? So you have 1, scholarships, and then number 2, what your parents are going to contribute, your families are going to contribute, maybe your own savings, and another piece of the pie is also working on campus as well. Okay, so first let me go into scholarships first. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is merit-based scholarships. Okay, so what merit-based, you'll see this a lot on the admissions page on all of our institutions. And when we say that we will award merit-based scholarships, is basically based on your academic qualifications. Okay, so typically this is awarded at the admission stage. So for us at the University of Wyoming, is how it will show up in your your pathway to the University of Wyoming is we'll include that information in your admissions letter. Okay, so you'll get that award up front, and also we'll send you an I-20 with a reduced amount that's also included, that will also include your scholarship information as well. So from that stage on, you can kind of, plan out your finances with your families, okay? Another big thing about the studying in the US is, like Kenley said, it's very complex, and what you'll hear around the world is that we have amazing athletic scholarships. Okay, so athletic scholarships are awarded to athletes that have been, heavily active in their field, in their sports in high school. So how it works out is there's a typically for a lot of big state schools is and also private schools as well, is that the coaches will actually recruit these athletes themselves, and for the most part, it's 100% full ride scholarship. Right? These are rigorous and hard to achieve, but I would say, I mean, if you're a top athlete in your sport, I would say do not rule out this option. Seek out to admission counselors and to us, and I know that I'm not allowed to recruit athletes, but I'm allowed to channel you to the right coaches as well. Okay, so if you need that information based off whatever you do in your high school right now and what you excel in your sports, please let me know. We'd love to connect you with the coaches. The coach will reach out to you and have an interview with you and probably ask for a video of your achievements and all that, and then I'll go from there. So again, a lot of our institutions are very big on the sports, so do not rule this out. If you think you can qualify for one, absolutely reach out to these institutions and let us know about you guys. Okay. Last but not least is departmental and /ISS scholarships. ISS means international students and scholarship, international students and scholars scholarship. So that's ISS is kind of the verb that, the acronym that you will hear once you get to the US. Being an international student, you'll hear a lot of ISS or OISS. What it means is the International Student Office will typically have their own internal scholarship based on your achievements as a current student. So that's what we do at the University of Wyoming, is that we give out scholarships every year based on your current achievements and what you do on campus and the great things that achieve and participate in campus activities. I mean, we are always looking for international student leaders, to be part of our community. So those are kind of the stories that we look for in awarding these amounts. So for us at the Office of International Student Scholars, we award a max amount of $2,000 a year for that. Okay, and like I said as well, your academic department. Let's say you wanted to study electrical engineering or finance or psychology. Your specific departments will have resources to specific scholarships as well. So that can help you in reducing your cost in your education as well. And I didn't put it over here as well, but as an international student, you're allowed to work for up to 20 hours a week on campus. So that will help you with your financing your education in the US as well. So I wish you all the best of luck. And if you have any further questions, let me know. And I'm going to pass it on to the University of Laverne.
Hey everybody, my name is Adam Wu, and I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admission at the University of Laverne. Our very own Nevada has actually visited our campus, so she can also give you all the insight too from her experience. So Laverne, we are located 30 minutes east of downtown LA, 30 minutes north of Disneyland. Very centrally located within Southern California, very close to all the things I think people think about when you think about SoCal. There's about 6 universities within 20 minutes of us. I always bring that up because I think it's also important for students to understand how many university students there are in the area. So what that means is not only are there a bunch of things to keep you busy on campus, but there are lots of things going on off campus as well, both socially and also for your professional development as well. The University of Laverne, we are a smaller institution, about 2,500 undergraduate students. So most of our classes hover between 13 and 20 with an average of 16, but that means our biggest classes ever are 30. So if you're the kind of student who really enjoys being in a smaller setting, where the professor knows that, 1, if you're there, 2, if you're awake, then sometimes a smaller school like Laverne may be an option you want to consider. A lot of our students who choose Laverne are looking for a place where they're not going to be anonymous, where they're able to, in that very first semester in an introductory course, start those conversations about internships and jobs with the faculty. we recognize part of this journey is that some of you may know what you want to study, and others of you may not know exactly what you want to study. And we want to let you know that that is okay. Laverne is one of the private institutions where we admit you to the university, and then you get to choose what major you would like to pursue once you are there. So yeah, some students come in with a good idea of what they want to study, other students don't. Some students think they know what they want to study and then get to university and change their mind, and that's perfectly okay. Most of our students at Laverne actually end up changing their major between 2 and 3 times. I actually changed my major 6 times when I was in university, but I still graduated in 4 years. And again, I think that highlights the flexibility and the power of a US education. The last thing I would say about our academics is that one of the things that we really focus on is that, yes, we want you to learn the basic concepts that are in the textbook related to your field, but we also want you to get that practical hands-on experience applying those concepts you're learning in the classroom into a real world setting. So all of our students will do at least one internship or research project based on their area of study. The cool thing again about LA, so many different industries to choose from, right? So no matter what you're interested in studying, odds are there's companies, programs, internships that will meet your needs. We are also a test optional institution, and our merit scholarships for international students go from $10,000 to $30,000 a year. Our scholarships are standards-based, meaning that anyone who is admitted to the university, if you qualify for one of those scholarships, you're going to get that scholarship automatically. You're not competing with other students for a scholarship. So that's a little bit about the University of Laverne. I do want to talk a little about our 2+2 programs in the US. The US is a little funky. We don't use the metric system. We use Fahrenheit instead of Celsius. But we also have a community college system, which is it's very unique to the US. So all of my colleagues here, we all represent 4-year institutions, meaning you would study there for 4 years. And at the end of that 4th year, you would receive a bachelor's degree. In the US, we also have a program called the community college system. In that system, what it is at the first 2 years, you would study at a community college. And there are hundreds of community colleges across the US. In California alone, there's 118 just in California. So if you do the community college route, what that means is in the first 2 years, you would take your general elective course, you would take your general education requirements at the community college. So maybe some history, some mathematics, social sciences, some introductory courses in your major. And at the end of the 2 years, the purpose is that you would then transfer to a 4-year institution, like one of the 5 universities here today, to finish the last 2 years of university. So this option was built in the US in the name of access, right? So about half of US students actually start at a community college before transferring to a 4-year university to complete their bachelor's degree. Now you might be asking, why do you do this? Well, the community college tuition is cheaper than a 4-year institution. So it can be a cost-effective way to finance and budget for your studies in the US. A couple caveats with the community college. I do let students know, again, it is a great place to start your education, especially if you're not exactly sure what you want to study or if you want to brush up on your English language skills. However, most community colleges do not offer housing. So if you're looking to attend a community college, you are going to need to plan for your own housing. And the second thing I would say too, again, as you're thinking about your budget, as you're planning ahead, community college tuition is cheaper than a 4-year institution. But you will find that many of the 4-year institutions, most of the and the largest international merit scholarships tend to go to international students who enroll at a 4-year at the beginning of their first year. So the amount of funding for international students who transfer from a community college to a 4-year may not be as plentiful as starting at a university in year 1, but again, you would be saving money during those first 2 years. So that's a little bit about the community college system, and we're happy to talk about it in our breakout rooms. And we'll hand it off to Kenley to wrap us up.
All right, thank you, Adam. It just dawned on me that I have a connection to pretty much all your universities. I have a really good friend from high school who's now a professor of political science at the University of Kentucky. My oldest sister started her college career at the University of California, Riverside. And I used to date a girl who graduated from the University of Wyoming. So Julie, if you're out there in the world, I'm doing well for myself. And then there's Laverne, which is actually the University of Redlands is a neighbor. So if you are to go to Laverne, drive another 30 minutes east towards the California desert. If you reach Arizona, you've gone too far, but you will reach the beautiful community of Redlands, California, and the University of Redlands. This is our campus. It's actually a relatively large university considering our population is only 2,500 students. So maybe we had social distancing in mind when the campus was created, but the campus is gorgeous. In fact, don't be surprised if you're walking through campus and you see a movie being filmed or a TV show or a commercial or something like that. Every year, the city of Redlands or the university, we issue about 15 or so filming permits for that to essentially happen. Many of my colleagues on this are larger universities, and certainly there are a lot of benefits and advantages of going to that environment. I went to a large university, a lot of opportunities and experiences to be had. But maybe you feel that a smaller university makes more sense for your personality and maybe what you're looking for in a college experience. So with only about 2,500 students, we certainly do focus very heavily on this idea of community and personalization, where everybody can have a little piece of the university to themselves and really make their own mark on the university. Maybe your mark is studying abroad. About 50% of our students will study abroad before they graduate. We do have a little campus in Salzburg, Austria, and where a lot of our students will study abroad. And I recently learned that the faculty at the University of Redlands' Salzburg campus routinely take students out to the Balkans for history courses and experiences, etc. Or maybe you want to major in one of our niche programs you're not necessarily going to find everywhere. Things like health, medicine, and society if you have an interest in community health. Or maybe you want to do human animal studies and focus on animal ethics and animal advocacy or wildlife rehabilitation. 100% of admitted international students do receive a scholarship up to $34,000 a year. So that's roughly about 50% of your education being covered by Redlands. We can probably do a little bit better with additional need-based aid. And then similar to others, we are test optional. So the SAT or ACT is not required as well. Well, hopefully by now, you're thinking, okay, the US is where I want to be. And if the US is where you want to be, whether it's at UCR, or Laverne, or Wyoming, many of us have a fairly similar process related to the next steps. It was mentioned earlier that you will have to submit what is called a certificate of finances. This is a US Department of Homeland Security requirement. Some universities require this at application stage, some require it at enrollment stage, but at the end of the day, whatever university you decide to attend, you will have to show proof of finances. This is in order for you to receive an I-20, which then goes on to support what is called an F1 student visa. The F1 student visa is what is put in your passport in order for you to legally enter the United States. When you enter the United States, and typically you're going to start having to learn what it means to maintain your status. So there is a window of roughly 30 days prior to the start of your classes where you can enter the US. And then all of our universities are going to have an international orientation for you. Maybe it's part of new student orientation, maybe it's separate altogether, but that will be an opportunity for you to get to know the university, and to understand what is the expectations as an international student. It is a little bit different than if you're, say, a US citizen, and that is what is called maintaining your status. At all of our universities, we have someone that is called a designated school official. Maybe some of us are DSOs for short. And basically, if you have any questions about maintaining your status, if you want to change your academic program, if you want to travel outside the US, if you're struggling with a class and want to change your courses, before you do those things, make sure you check in with your Office of International Students and Scholars, or whatever it's called at your university, because they're going to be able to give you the guidelines and the processes related to maintaining your ever so important status. Similar to if you need to work on campus or off campus, there are some rules and regulations that govern that in terms of what kind of work you can do, the time period of how long you can do it. It has to be related to your major. So these are some of the things to start thinking about, not necessarily right now, but once you decide to attend Laverne or Kentucky, and the next question is, okay, what are the next steps to enrollment? So let us help you, and this is us. Now, all of us were planning to go to Serbia, but unfortunately, with the COVID pandemic, we were not able to, because of what we were going to do got canceled. But I can make it a commitment that all of us will be back in your area in the near future. If we were interested in visiting you during the pandemic, we're certainly going to be interested in visiting you post-pandemic. So this is how you get a hold of us. Ask us those questions. Doesn't necessarily have to be about our university. Maybe it just has to be about life in Kentucky, or why I like Partizan over Red Star. You know, those are soccer teams, by the way. Whatever it is, let us know how we can help you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Nebana to talk about the next portion of our hour together. Thank you.
Thank you guys for this wonderful presentation and giving these students insight on their next steps forward. We do have one question in the chat, and it is, what is your advice on how to pick a major based on what is in demand or what you think you want to do?
Okay, anybody want to take that? And then there is a follow-up question about how easy is it to change your major. So maybe one or two people that might be able to give advice about how to pick a major.
Well, I'll just start off to say one thing, and I'll leave room for my colleagues to add. I think the trouble with, I mean, obviously you want to choose a major where you're going to easily be able to find a job. But I would also say, if you choose a major with the only thought in mind is what's in demand right now, what's in demand right now might not be what's in demand in 10 years. And also, you want to be happy with what you're doing. You don't want to choose something that's going to make you miserable just because right now there are a lot of jobs available in it. So I think you really want to try to balance what is employable and what you enjoy doing. And I'll stop there and let my colleagues add a little bit more advice.
If I can say something real quick, here at the University of Wyoming, when you come in, you don't necessarily, when you apply, you can indicate what you plan to study, but when you come in as a freshman, you can come in as an undeclared major, and that applies to a lot of institutions as well. And I see Rachel nodding as well, because our institutions are pretty much the same. So you can come in as an undeclared major and explore all your different options with your advisors, your undeclared advisors, and then you can meet with the college's advisors. Let's say you were torn between business or engineering, you can meet with folks in those colleges. And even if you still couldn't make a decision, you could go to career services to kind of guide you on what Rachel just mentioned, in like thinking about what's applicable now and what's applicable in 10 years. So trying to help you to, to find the right fit for you. And I think Adam had mentioned as well, changing majors, a little bit about changing majors as well just now. It's, if let's say you did go into a different major and then you change your mind a few months after that, it really isn't a big deal because you would have started to take some classes that would count towards graduation. So I just wanted to kind of highlight here that there's a lot of support here at US institutions in terms of helping you throughout your degree in whatever you want to do.